God bless you. It's so wonderful to see you with us here on tonight. And yay, this is our 100th episode. And we're so thankful that the Lord has blessed us. This has really been a journey. And we're so happy to be with you all on tonight. And I see you with me, Patty, from she said 110th. This is our 100th episode. Yay, we're so happy. God bless you. Come on in. Hi, Deloria. It's so good to see you. Hi, Faye. Thank God for you. And we have a treat tonight. My godson, the Bishop, Vincent Matthews Jr. And we're so happy to have him. He is our international president of missions department of the Church of God in Christ. He's a man about the world. I don't know how many countries he hasn't been in. He might want to try to figure that out right quick and tell us. But this man is so well versed in so many different things. And so tonight, he is going to join me. He's joining me as we talk about family matters, specifically marriage. We're going to be dealing with marriage and just relationship matters today. God bless you. Welcome, Bishop. Can't hear you.
Mama, I'm so happy to be here with you. And I'm elated. Happy 100th. This is big. This is huge. And you are literally touching the world. And I'm honored and humbled to be here with such a wise, intellectual, and nurturing mother.
Well, thank you.
Did I add beautiful?
Yes. Thank you for all of those superlatives. But we're just so happy to be here. And you all coming on in. This looks really good. And so many are saying, welcome, Bishop. We're so glad to have you to be with us on this I'm excited. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's a milestone.
When we started out, we didn't know we would be here now.
Right.
But it has just been a blessing. And I thank God for those of you who join me every week. And there are others who join us. We don't know who you are, but you do let me know from time to time. But we are so grateful for you. It's because of you that we're here. And before we get started, I really want to thank those of you for all of the Happy Mother's Day greetings that I received from you. And thank you so much for your Cash Apps. I was happy about all that too. So thank you so much for the Mother's Day greetings. I'm happy because God, not only do I love the Lord and I love children, I always wanted a house full, but God blessed other people's children to love me. And that makes me so happy. And so tonight we're going to go right ahead and get started. Bishop Matthews, would you talk to us a little bit about your experience um, being a marriage counselor as well. You're a lot of other things, but
Well, thank you, Mama. And again, I'm humbled to be with you. And you are the guru, but I'm here. I'm kind of you, Batman, and I'm Robin. Oh, that's not a good analogy. But anyway, you're Paul. You're Paul, and I'm Silas. Oh, that's not a good one. Okay, you be Priscilla, and I'll be Aquila. How about
okay,
that?
no.
But I thank God for His goodness. It's been a burden of mine and Sharon's that marriage, and this is not new, but it's more intensified. Marriage has always been under attack. And so even when I went back to school in doctorate school in theology, I had to focus on Christian counseling because I needed God to equip me to be able to help individuals in marriages. And so we started having marriage conferences, marriage retreats, and marriage working with individuals. And I found that there's a few things. Matthew 19 is really the terms and conditions. They start asking, can anybody divorce a woman for any reason? And Jesus said, divorce is only there because of the hardness of your heart. And so there are so many things that hardens the heart. Pre-marriage, during marriage, that hardens the heart, that causes separation and isolation in marriage, and not the oneness that God intends.
So, and Vincent, Bishop Matthews is a
Vincent is on
father.
my birth certificate. It works.
He's a father of 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 11 children, and he's so happy about it, and he's got some beautiful children. I love them so much, and the Lord has blessed me. I call them my grandchildren, and I'm so
Amen.
grateful. God bless you. Come on in. Oh, and Deloria, you stay with us. You say that you're not married, but stay with us. You may be, but if not, there's some things you might be able to help somebody else. So stay with
Right.
us. All right. So just opening up, marriage is God's idea.
That's right.
This is just not something that somebody came up with off the top of their head. It is God's idea, and He gave some specific criteria. He says that a man has to leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And you can find that in Genesis, the second chapter, and the 24th verse. And so God is saying to male and female, let's get that straight. Marriage that God has provided for, and His idea is that a man and a woman, that's the marriage that God honors. And one woman, one man. And we are created as a complement for one another for life. And God really intended that for us as human beings. The whole of society, God set up the institution of marriage to be the bedrock of the whole society of the entire world.
Right.
And so naturally there has been a fierce attack against marriages, even in the church. And now the percentages of divorce is as high with churchgoers as it is with those who don't even go to church. And so Vince, talk to us a little bit about God's idea. Okay, what?
Yeah, and you're so right on target, because God's idea, first of all, because it's God's idea, this is not a legal thing. This is not a governmental idea. People try to redefine God's institution of marriage, and understanding that marriage is more important than our local church. Let me explain that real quick before somebody drop off. That before there was ever any church, God instituted marriage. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. He put these two together and then gave them children, told them be fruitful and multiply. To be fruitful was not only to have children, but to bear the fruits that reflect the glory of God in their life and in their oneness that reflects them. And you quoted straight there from Matthew, from Genesis 2:24, that this is why a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife and become one flesh. We can get into that later. So yeah, it's such God's idea, and the challenge is uh, that when we do it God's way, when we follow God's plan, then we come to oneness. We're one together. If we don't, we're literally building bricks of isolation that divides us. And so it's guys, and it's never meant to be easy. Many people think, people talk about you fall in love, you fall in mud. You choose to love, right? You
Right,
fall in
right.
mud. You don't fall in love. You choose to love.
Yes, yes. Oh, I really love that because you are absolutely right. Marriage is a choice and love is a choice.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
um, there are the society has now come up with what they call substitutions. They
Yes.
shack, and
Mm-hmm.
I could really talk an hour on shacking, but I won't. But I'm just saying I'm going to say this to the woman that this is what I say all the time. Women, do not allow yourself to fall victim of a man who is short on commitment and want to shack with you and get all of the amenities of marriage without the commitment of marriage.
Right.
So I say to the woman, if he drives a truck, a car, he's got to have license. If he goes fishing, come on now, he needs a license. If he owns a dog, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, there are dogs that you can't own unless you have a license. And
Right.
so you're better than a car, a fish, or a dog. And so I want you to get it in your heart and decide I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more. And if you will pull that into your heart, then it won't be hard for you to say, well, he loves me, but he doesn't want to marry me. Well, he's not committed to you.
Yep.
Don't shortchange yourself. Okay. Um, you jump right on the ambulance while I'm talking. Come on.
Yeah, and the key is that, mother, when I said that love is a choice and not a feeling, by the way,
Absolutely.
because the same you're the top psychologist in the United States of America, and there's people watching from all around the world. Y'all
Mm-mm.
need to know that Mother Romanetha Stallworth, ask Mama, she's the top. I'm pointing the wrong way. Ask Mama, she's the top psychologist in the world.
Not
Yeah,
really.
and so you recognize and know that when people get close to each other, or you touch hands, you get a feeling down in your stomach. That's not love. That's hormones, and
Mm-hmm.
that's oxycontin and all of those things that's going on. And then that's good enough for a while, but the dopamine things start to move in your brain, and you're going to feel. Then that touching the hands ain't enough. Then you got to touch each other, and then you got to do whatever. So, and then you get to sleep with each other, and then they get all kinds of things. That feeling is not love. That feeling of I'm in love, that's just a feeling of hormones. Rats feel the same way when they touch each other and sleep together. Dogs feel the same way because that's what hormones, that's biological response.
Mm-hmm.
Love is when you don't feel like it. Because when you get in love, you don't feel like I love you sometimes. When I
Mm-hmm.
woke up at 4 o'clock this morning, I looked at I wasn't talking about, ooh, I'm in love with you. I was saying, Lord, it's early in the morning, but I choose to love you. I choose to honor my commitment to you. And that is why shacking is so heinous, is so undermining, because when you're living together, you washing drawers, you're cleaning the house, you're cooking food, you're doing everything but a commitment. That person, both the man and the woman, saying, I'm with you for now, but if it don't work out, I'm out. So in
Uh-huh.
the interview, there's no commitment, not sickness, health, rich or poor, up or down, don't matter. I'm with you. No, I don't know. I'm with you now. Then that undermines you also. So what happens, Mama, is that a lot of people have been married and divorced 15 times before they got married, but they never were officially married. Because once you tear that apart, you're talking about broken hearts, all of that
Mm-hmm.
hormones because those, I'm sorry, but you told me to talk. So those hormones
Uh-huh.
are really to bond us together. Now
Yeah.
people call that sprung. They sprung, or he's a simp. Well, he became a simp, or they became sprung because when you engage in sexual act, God binds you together and then you pull off. You bind together, you pull off. You bind together. It's like a piece of tape put to the wall. You keep pulling it off, it don't stick no more. So for some of us, before you get married, you got to say, God, restore my stickiness so that I can stick to somebody, because I become almost a sociopath through my behavior. Now, you can unpack that because you're smarter than me. But
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, well, he really explained it all, because let me say this to you. When you have a sex outside of marriage, every time that man ejaculates in you, you're taking part of him. You're taking part of him literally. And you wonder what's wrong with you. It's no wonder our world has huge issues with attachment and commitment and bonding. All of these human essential understandings are to be exemplified within a marriage.
Yes.
And it plays out with our children.
Yep.
If and you don't give your children a good base to live on if you are not committed in marriage. Your children, you have to give them a good definition of who they are. They've got to know that they came from who they came from. And one of the worst things in the world, I've seen it happen. A man, he fool around, have kids everywhere, and then he finally marries, and then they have a family reunion, and they're just loving on the children, and they say, oh, this is Junebug's outside child. Now, what did that do to that child? What did that say to that child? That said, you're not a part of the official union.
That's right.
You are outside. And so I need you all to really start thinking about how you receive interrelationships. How do you teach it? What you say to your children? Because unless the marriage bed is reestablished, our society cannot stand.
Wow.
In 2003, I read a demographic, and when I was speaking in Tampa, I said it. In 2003, the demographic said that by the year 2020, the African American family would face extinction as we know it. This is 2022. And it's the truth. They said in that article, because of the situation with the African American male, homosexuality, drugs and alcohol, all of that drug abuse, prison, and just not making a commitment to marriage and to family. All of these things have just deteriorated and eating away at the African American community.
Yes.
You know that's true.
Oh yeah.
And so it's very important that we make a stand for marriage. It's not merely convenience of comfort to placate your sexual desires of a man and a woman. It's not just for that, or for companionship, or to procreate. It's not only for that. It includes all of these things, but it's more glorious than that. Marriage, properly understood in the biblical context in which it was intended, is a living example of the complexity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yes.
It's a living example. And you said it so true, Bishop, that it's a choice. My husband and I enjoyed 48 and a half really good years of marriage. But I'm telling you, you have to make that choice. There are times, now the Lord blessed me, and this is the truth. All of these years, I never had a mind to leave him. I never did. But there were times that I said, don't you touch me. I would say, listen, go on to bed. I'll come back later. And I had to, you have to, your commitment has to be like a vice grip on you.
Yes. Yes.
That let me tell you, I told my husband, I said, if I ever see you packing, I just got one question, and that is, where are we going?
Yeah, that's right.
You
That's right.
stuck like Chuck with me, but you see what I'm saying? And so you have to have that commitment to weather the storms. You have to
Yes.
have that I choose to weather the storms. All right, Bishop, go ahead.
Oh no, please keep talking. I'm enjoying it. There are too many people who are cussing. And I think the worst cuss word that a married couple can say is the D word. That
Divorce.
D word is the worst cuss word you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know some of the folks on here ain't sanctified, so they probably started cussing with traditional cuss words. That D word is divorce. Every
Yes.
time you get in an argument, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to this. Why you keep saying that? Well, if you got a plan B, then you're over already. This
Mm-hmm.
is it. I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. You made me mad, but I ain't going nowhere. I
Mm-hmm.
made you mad. And I'm telling you what, I ain't sleeping in another room either. No, I ain't moving out. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
moving out there. Because, see, the challenge, Mama, is that many people are not legally divorced, but they're emotionally, they're spiritually, emotionally divorced. They're
Yep.
separated.
Yep.
They're not together. So they stay in the same house to kind of make, for whatever reason, but they're not together. And God's way, God's laws are for our protection and our provision. I mean, you said so much. So he's not trying to take our fun out of our lives and make it so we don't have a good time. He really wants us to really have a good time and enjoy one another.
Yeah.
So that demolition of the family is, we are worse off now. Our children are worse off now with
Yeah.
mama and daddy's being together than we were as slaves.
Yeah.
Now
Oh,
figure that
wow.
out.
Wow.
We had more intact families when we were slaves before 1865 than we do now. You look around in our community, we're at about 80% fatherless homes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That's true.
crazy.
Yeah.
Ain't no white man did that to us. Ain't nobody racist. The KKK didn't do this to us. When
Mm-mm.
we were slaves, we had more daddies connected to their children than we do now. But women don't care about the man being with their children. They look here, go pay the child support, I'll get my check. It's bigger than that. The men don't care nothing about their children. There's seed all over everywhere. We're in a tough spot because we have rejected God and his judgment is upon us. Look at our streets right now.
Yeah.
Look at our streets. Look at what's going on now. Tony Dungy from Indianapolis just got in
Right.
trouble, but he just got in trouble because Massa was mad. Massa got mad at him
Ooh.
because Tony Dungy said, "Fathers, be with your children and go home and be with your children." That's why so many of us in prison, and they want to say, "Oh, it ain't that. It's because they illegally arresting us and they're doing all kinds of things." Maybe that happened a few times. I get that. But for the most part, I worked in schools. I worked in alternative school. When
Mm-hmm.
I get a daddy and mama to stand there, you got daddy and mama together, and they work with that child, they are so exponentially less likely to
Yeah.
be involved in all those
Yeah.
things that go to prison.
Yeah.
We're doing prison ministry. I just spoke at the prison last week. I was just in a prison here in Mississippi, and one of the notorious prisons called Parchment.
Yeah.
Most of those men that are there in Parchment prison, that's a notorious prison. Most of the men there are hard time men. Didn't have mom and daddy wasn't together, and there's all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of things. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I ain't staying together just for the children. I'm telling you what, even if that's the reason, that's a reason to love one another. It's not worth me getting some boo, trading in my wife's mammary glands and gluteus maximus for some other mammary glands.
I really want you all to